Welcome back to another Jay's Collect video, and we made it to my final review when it comes to the Build-A-Figure Khonshu wave, and here we have Khonshu himself. Now, he is from the Moon Knight series, and I gotta say, I quite enjoyed that series. At the time, I kept going back and forth whether Loki or Moon Knight was my favorite Disney Plus show. I think Loki was at the time, but then Daredevil Born Again came out, so that's definitely my favorite, but those are definitely my top three favorite shows from the Disney Plus series and everything. And I'm happy to have Khonshu in the collection. I think this came out after Moon Knight and Mr. Knight came out, so it was nice to add to the collection, and these are the only Moon Knight items we got from that show. Anyway, he was a perfect choice for the Build-A-Figure series because he's quite tall there, quite big, and very bulky, so that's nice. So we'll take a look at Khonshu up close, but before we do that, let's take a look at the staff. Taking a look at the staff, it's quite big. It went up to Khonshu's head, I believe, when it was standing up. But the staff itself, basically just a gray color, including it up here near the crescent moon design, which I like how that looks. It has some copperish color in the middle there. And in the movie, or not the movie, but I guess the show, this whole thing in some shots, I guess, look kind of like that copperish color. But in here, it's just the gray plastic. So it could have been the lighting, or it could be that this is maybe supposed to be that color, but you let me know your thoughts in the comments below when it came to that. I think this was supposed to separate somewhere up here, but it's not coming apart now. Or maybe that was someone else's weapon from the Build-A-Figure series. But yeah, it's quite a big piece. It goes nicely next to Khonshu. It makes sense for him to have. So yeah. With that, let's now take a look at the Khonshu Build-A-Figure. And here we have a look at Khonshu's head. I turned it sideways because of the beak here, which I'll turn it this way in one moment. But yeah, of course in the show it's kind of like a skeleton bird head, so I really like that they kept that look there. He has no eyes, and you can see through the eye hole there into the other side, I believe. So I really like how that looks. Just looks really cool in my opinion. Again, you got the long beak here. If you turn it this way, you can just see it straight on. It's kind of hard to do that though, and so that's why I had to turn sideways. Here's a look at the other side. Here's the back. So yeah, just a really unique head mold and everything, and so yeah, that's why I'm a huge fan of it. One other thing to note is that in the show, I think his head was floating, so they try to represent that with, I think, some clear plastic near the neck area. So just thought I'd also note that. So now let's take a look at the rest of the body. So I did move the camera down a bit, so if you can't see his head, that's intentional, just because how tall he is. But yeah, taking a look at the body here. On top here, it's kind of like a grayish color underneath all this tan right here. He has a gold collar near the neck up there. And then he has this crescent moon design underneath this kind of like tan piece right here. And then the crescent moon is gold. But yeah, all that. And then he has a silver buckle down there. And then taking a look at basically the rest of the figure, it's kind of like in this mummy kind of like wrapping design. So like for the arms here, it has some wrapping, this tan wrapping around it, some gold on the front, and then some gold on the side of the arm right there. And it's just gonna be mirrored for this arm here, gold on the side and gold on the front just a little bit. And it's like mummy wrapping around the arm and the hands. And then taking a look at the legs, it's the same basically design as the arms, with this kind of like gold throughout it, and then the mummy wrapping even down to the feet there. And then for the robe here, it's a soft plastic. Actually, this can come off. I realized this just a few moments ago. So that means it was its own piece throughout the Build-A-Figure, but I've had this for a few years now, so I kind of forgot about that. But the robe is kind of almost the same tan design, or tan color, I think. There's some different slits and cuts throughout the bottom here. Again, it's a soft plastic, so you're able to like bend it inwards and everything. Same for this little skirt piece down here. And so, yeah, that's a look at Khonshu. Kind of a simple design, but I really like how it turned out, and just the height of him, and just I really like the head mold and everything. And he'll go nicely next to Moon Knight and Mr. Knight on my shelf and everything. So that's a look at Khonshu. Let me zoom out a bit, and we'll take a look at articulation. Okay, so taking a look at articulation, you can turn the head around 360 degrees like so. He can look down that far, so just like a little bit. He can look up that far, so just a bit more than looking down, so that's nice. He does go side to side just a little bit, like the head. And then he can turn the arm around 360 degrees. Just want to be careful, because over time, these arms have popped out. And it could be the robe. Also, one of the reasons why the arms kept popping out when I did that. but you have that. And then you can pull the arm out like so, as it pops out. So I get that back in. There we go. Okay, so you can pull the arm out like so, bend at the elbow like that, twist at the hand, and I don't think, there may be some wrist articulation in this hand, but the other one I was having trouble with a second ago, so just want to note that. And it should be mirrored for this arm. You can turn the arm around 360 degrees, pull the arm out like so without popping it out, bend at the elbow, twist at the hand, and like I said a second ago, I tried earlier bending this hand with the wrist, but it's having a bit of trouble, so I think it can bend. It makes sense if the other one can, but just want to note all that. And then at the waist, let's see, does he turn at the waist? It's going to be kind of hard given how big he is. He does turn at the waist, so I hope that was, you all were able to see that. Let's do one more time. You can turn like so. And then with the ab crunch, he bends down that far and then bends back that far. So there is a little bit of the ab crunch in there. And when it comes to side motion, it's kind of hard getting to him with the robe. I think there's a little bit of side to motion in there. Moving forward with the legs here, you can kick up that far, bend at the knee like so, and then bend at the foot down that far, and bends up, and it does go side to side. And then it should be the same for this leg. Kick up that far, bend at the knee like so, bend at the foot, bend it up that far, and go side to side. So that's that. That's a look at articulation. Not quite sure how many times you all saw me cut the camera throughout the editing process, but there was a lot of times. Probably one of the trickiest articulation segments I've done in quite a while. So, yeah. With that all down, let's now take a look at a pose and my final thoughts in the outro. Well, there you go. That is my review of Khonshu from the Marvel Legends line, from one of the Marvel Legends Disney Plus waves. I gotta say, I think this was one of the more difficult videos to film in quite a while. I think it had to do with him being just kind of tall, especially during the articulation segment. But yeah, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. With that, keep an eye out for other videos coming to the channel here soon. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and take care.